let's talk about some of that sucky governing right now. Want to talk about the new White House policy on abortion.
Boo.
So, yeah, spoiler alert, it's not good. Donald Trump spoke at an event on Tuesday hosted by a big anti-abortion group to brag about his administration's decision to put new restrictions on federally funded family planning programs, like preventing doctors from advising women who are contemplating their options about where they might receive an abortion.
Brittany.
The head of the Susan B. Anthony List group called Trump, quote, the most pro-life president in history, which does not reveal a very informed understanding of either the president or his own personal history. Brittany, how bad is this new rule, and what are the consequences going to be?
It is worse than his hair. It's that bad. I told you all I hate his hair. Like, I really can't. It is terrible, period. There are so many people who rely on the ability to get birth control, to receive information about their options if they are pregnant, and general health care that would be blocked from being able to do all of those things with this gag rule. The other really important thing to recognize is that for a lot of people, this puts their ability to access Planned Parenthood in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. And Planned Parenthood, for a lot of people, is not just the place where you go to get reproductive health care, it's the place where you go to get health care, period. If you are uninsured, if you do not have another provider in your region, if you are living in low-income circumstances, often if you are a woman of color, or a person of color, you are dealing with these issues in a very acute way. And this stands in the way of all of that. But thematically, the thing that we keep hearing, not just from this administration, but from this party, is that the only people who deserve autonomy over their bodies are men. And like, we bring life into the world, and so I just don't know how those two things go together.
Alyssa?
So I think the thing that's really important and that I wish that his supporters would hear is how dishonest this is. He's pandering to this religious base, right? But the Title X provisions serve 4 million Americans, 52% of which are people of color and minorities, and most of them are, a good percentage of them are rural. And it is where, as Brittany was saying, people get their actual health care. And the thing about it is that if you looked at what happened in the global gag rule, when people have done it in other countries, maternal death rates go up, unintended pregnancies go up, and health clinics close. And so I guess I don't see in the last 30 years what benchmarks they have looked at to say this is a good idea.
Teenage pregnancy is at an all-time low in the last 30 years. Like, they can go back to pretending like teenagers don't have sex if they want to, but this is literally unhealthy for lots of people.
Literally.
I want to talk about sort of the broader implications of this president's sort of policy and beliefs on choice, because like, Republicans are known for organizing and being active around making sure that judges, they get the judges that they want. And we are now in a situation where if Justice Kennedy retires, if Ruth Bader Ginsburg retires...
Don't you dare say that in this room.
Don't
you dare say it.
And this president gets to nominate another Neil Gorsuch-type justice, that is a real threat to Roe versus Wade in this country.
Let's talk about the trigger laws. Yeah. Do you guys know what trigger laws are? Okay, I'm going to tell you. So if Roe v. Wade were overturned, okay, if there was another judge, if God forbid something happens to one of the justices that, are care, and we have someone who's Gorsuch-esque, here's what would happen. In America, only 17 states have state laws that would protect abortion. So in 33 states, the trigger law would mean that the minute that the Supreme Court ruled, in 33 states, abortion would be illegal immediately. And that's a trigger law, and that's what so many people don't know, and it is why going to every single person has to register and has to vote, because every judge in America is important. And what I would tell everyone, and I will share this on social media later, is to call your governors. Everyone should call their governor and see what would happen and what position their state would be in if Roe v. Wade were overturned, because it is so much more catastrophic than I think any of us really realize.
Wow. And by the way, this is why the Senate is so important to win back. And look, we've talked about this a lot. The Senate is going to be a much more uphill climb than the House to turn Democratic, because we're defending a lot of seats in some very tough states, in some red states, and we've got to flip a couple seats in some red states. But if the Democrats take the Senate, they have the power to make sure there are no Neil Gorsuches. We can pull a Mitch McConnell at that point and hold the seat open until we get a Democratic president.
And then Ruth can finally rest.
And then Ruth can finally
Ruth
rest.
can give Ruth a break, right?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg can finally order a fucking cheeseburger.
Seriously.
The woman has been having green juice and kale salads for 2 full years. She thought she'd be out of here. She's supposed to be at the fucking beach. Hillary Clinton is supposed to be president right now, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg is supposed to be chilling the fuck out. But she can't. And I've said it before and I'll say it again, but if Ruth Bader Ginsburg has a walk-in tub, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
If we don't take back the Senate, God forbid, I will put Ruth in like a cryogenic chamber.
Yes.
Paste that lace doily on top of it and just wheel her out there myself if I have to.
Well, do those planks, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
And look, and I'll tell you.
Work on that core. The core is key. You can't work out the hip, but you can work out the core. Keep everything else strong around the hip. Do what it takes. Stay limber. Stay limber. A lot of people fall because they're shuffling.
Too much
They're
Barry's
shuffling
boot camp for this guy.
Because their hamstrings are tight. Ruth.
Jon Lovett's workout plan.
There you go.
You literally
Number 1076 on Amazon's bestseller list.
You see old people shuffling, it's tight hamstrings. Ruth.
The Save Roe v. Wade course on the Peloton bike really got me.
Honestly, the fourth most powerful person in the fucking world is Ruth Bader Ginsburg's bi-weekly trainer.
God bless him.
Well, look, and I'll tell you guys too, this is why in the Senate, we talk a lot on this pod about, flipping Texas, Beto O'Rourke winning, flipping Arizona, flipping Nevada, but Claire McCaskill and Joe Donnelly and Heidi Heitkamp and Joe Manchin, all these senators who are in red states who sometimes take votes that we hate, that we're very annoyed about, they have to win, because if there is a Supreme Court vacancy and it's a Republican Congress and it's a Republican Senate, then we are going to have a justice that could overturn Roe v. Wade. So as odious as some of their votes are, we need a Democratic Senate.
Yeah, and I just would add to that too. This is so important. So first of all, also by the way, if that were to happen, it'd be up to all of us to make sure they understand just how important that is. But there's a conversation inside the Republican Party, inside the conservative movement, and judges are central to that. It is the final card they play, which is, oh, you think he's bad? How would Hillary's judges have been? Oh, you think he's bad? He's loading up the conservative court. Right. The combination of Reid getting rid of the filibuster for lower court judges and the shit McConnell pulled to keep a Supreme Court seat open for Donald fucking Trump has meant that they have been loading the court system with conservative judges that will have an impact for 30 years, and they all know it. And it is the final thing that the pro-Trump or so soft pro-Trump conservative intellectuals throw at their adversaries inside their own movement. If we win the Senate, they will lose that, and that is incredibly important, not just for protecting the country from these judges, but from stopping the Republicans who, out of selfishness and ideology, have gone along with the Trump train. So it's so fucking important. That's all.